Good afternoon. This is Joe Scorese, your mortgage lending specialist here at Work Your Money Podcast in the heart of Northern Liberties at WeWork. We have a gracious real estate agent kind enough to come out on a Saturday afternoon, Eagles game starting in 20 minutes, and somehow I have convinced her to show up, which is unbelievable. You know what? She loves what she does, and that's what the difference is. I have Desarrie McDuffie from Coldwell Banker in Center City, and we're going to talk about how she has accomplished her personal business over the past decade, which is lovely to know that she's been in the business that long. Last time I saw her was about 4 years ago, and I was doing a small tour of Point Breeze.
Yes.
And it's already come and gone, that whole renaissance, I think, or still going. They're going all the way up to Mantua. But it was nice to see her then because we were only Facebook friends at that point.
Yes.
And it was nice to sometimes just meet somebody in person, and they're as nice online as they are in person, and that was Desarrie. And we were hanging out in front of a bakery, and she helped me not go into the bakery and eat any fattening food, which is very important in my diet plan. Yeah, we were just talking. We're just like, don't look to our left, don't look to our left. And we had a wonderful tour, and we got a little exercise walking around Point Breeze, and we learned a lot just being there and seeing things on a Saturday morning. Desarrie, so, I haven't seen you in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I see that you're very active online.
Thank you.
You're not shy, so that's good.
Thank you.
And how was 17? For you, where was your business? Meaning what type of properties? How did you attract that type of business? Is there a few things that you've tweaked to go into the 18 market for yourself to really kind of capture that business that you might, hey man, I could have done this and I could have got this.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you see yourself from 17 and going into 18 right now?
Okay. Ironically, 2017 was actually my biggest year in real estate. So
congratulations.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it may have been for a lot of other agents as well, with the market being so great.
Yep, robust.
But I was really, really excited about what I was able to accomplish in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So moving forward in 2018, I actually took on a coach, Mike Ferry coaching. So my coach is pushing me to focus more on listings.
Okay.
As opposed to just buyers. Most of my business is first-time home buyers, which I absolutely love. That's actually has been the foundation of my business. But my coach is pushing me in another direction. So
the phone rings. If you're listing a property, you get the first call.
Exactly.
And we talk about foundation. I'm going to pick some words out of the things you're saying. Has the foundation come from family and friends? Has it come from external networking with technology, social media? I mean, where have you seen that second or third referral come from, where you established that first referral, completed, thank you, get good ratings, but where did you see that? Family, friends, inbound traffic technology?
Most of my business is obviously referral based, but a lot of it comes from technology, Facebook.
Okay.
I think my name, Desarrie Real Estate Diva McDuffie on Facebook.
Yeah.
That helps, and I get a lot of inboxes from people asking me, whether or not I would be able to help them either buy or sell.
And it's obviously all in the response, right? I mean, quick, to the point. Hey, do you want to chat on the phone? To get some clarity. I would imagine that's important. And then becoming a listing agent. I mean, let's be honest. If you get a good listing in Fishtown or Northern Liberties or certain like Pennsport, in South Philly or West Philly, let's pick a neighborhood that Cedar Park, and if it's priced to sell, it's going to be gone in 3 days.
Oh yeah. And to be honest with you, I am completely wiped out of listings now because everything's just going. The moment you put it on the market, it's under contract in less than a week.
Well, inventory hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we thought, hey, okay, we hit Christmas. People are going to slow down. I think we have an inventory shortage. I think because we're in such a triangle. New York, Philly, D.C., and if Elon Musk has his way, we're going to have a tunnel going right through us. So, and we're going to all be one big happy metropolis, real soon. What are a couple neighborhoods? Let's pick, both sides of Philadelphia. That's not focused on one. When I say, hey, listen, I'm an investor. I want to buy a home. I want to maybe lease option it to somebody. I want to hold it for a couple of years, watch the market kind of move along. I don't want to buy in the highest price market and buy high. I want to buy in a comfortable place where I would live. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there a strong CDC there, a strong RCO? You know, maybe some slight changes to the kitchen and the bathrooms, but overall good neighborhood where you feel, hey, listen, I'm not putting you in a bad place. Mm-hmm. You're going to come back to me and say, hey, listen, thank you. Mm-hmm. Get me another type of thing. Mm-hmm. So what's a couple of neighborhoods you see in 18 that are going to be on the rise for listings and potential, you know, quicker sales in some other neighborhood? So what are 2 or 3 that come to mind?
Well, obviously, the first neighborhood that comes to my mind is Point Breeze.
Okay.
Although there has been a lot that's happened in Point Breeze in the last few years, there's still a lot of potential. You know, there's still a lot of room for growth. I was raised in Point Breeze.
Okay.
Around 19th and Federal. Yeah.
Oh wow, you're right there. I mean, First Trust Bank's offices right on Point Breeze.
Yeah, right on Point Breeze.
It's only been there since 1934, but like, you know, it's like a mainstay. Like, you know.
And I know I have several clients that actually bank with First Trust. So yeah, but I'm excited to see all of the development that's happened in Point Breeze. And I think that the boundaries are just shifting, because I remember when no one would even go into Point Breeze. It was about 2009. In 2010, I had a listing in Point Breeze, new construction, and it was one of the hardest sales of my career at that time, because no one would go south of south of Washington Avenue. And then I recalled an article basically encouraging people to invest there, and I couldn't get anyone to invest there at that time. And now all of a sudden, boom, you know, we're selling new construction properties for $400,000 or $500,000 over there now.
Well, now that I know you grew up there, what is the name of that wonderful park that neighbors a lot of the streets at the when you come around Point Breeze Avenue, you come around that turn, and then you're going back toward Philadelphia, Sears Street. You go to the end of Sears Street, there's this park.
Wharton.
It's like the next day. I mean, that whole area. Yeah. I mean, you go back there 5 years ago. I mean, you had every blighted house on the block, and you had 2 row homes that were surviving. I mean, now. I mean, do you think Point Breeze could sustain keeping some row homes, like the 2-floor ones, instead of going, you know, high to the sky? I mean, do you see that whole, you know, developers coming in still and trying to add the 3rd floor, or do you see them just going up to the neighborhood above, like Mantua, things like that? What do you think? Do you think, or were you exhausted by putting 3rd floors in some of these properties, or do you think that's going to still continue so they can get the abatement?
Yeah, I think that it will still continue, because obviously developers want as much profit as possible, but some developers are deciding not to add the 3rd floor.
Yeah, just repurpose it. Get it ready.
Exactly. I have one that I had on 17th Street. Now the owner decided not to add a 3rd floor to it, and you know, it's getting a lot of traffic. Okay. So, and then from what I understand, there's another client of mine that I have to go look at their property. But anyhow, they have another one on Mifflin Street that they want to remain, you know, a 2-story. They actually asked me if I think that they should have a 3rd story. I said, no, just leave it.
That's your first-time home buyer.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, that's your. I mean, listen, the way we're going to sustain a market shift. And I'm not saying recession. I'm just saying a slow is going to be keeping that $200,000 to $300,000 market inventory available.
Exactly. And there is a shortage of that.
Correct.
In almost any neighborhood.
There's a big gap between a $300,000 purchase and a $400,000 purchase because of the complexity of a mortgage. Yeah. Let's be honest, and the products that are available.
Exactly.
So you know, we're keen on Point Breeze. I know there's a lot of mixed use and commercial that still needs to come there to support it, as I think you would agree as well. What's another neighborhood that just, like, on top of your head, hey, if you're going to buy and you're still going to make some money, you're still going to have, you know, a nice rental, or you're going to flip it in a couple of years, what's a good investment? Because even first-time home buying is an investment. They're not buying a dog. Yes. They're buying a house. So they're looking for appreciation just like anybody else. So what's another neighborhood that people might not be talking about that you like?
Might not be talking about.
Maybe something in West Philly or something.
Well, I love West Philly as well.
So what's the neighborhood on the rise?
Oh, the boundaries of the neighborhood?
Yeah, I know. It gets a little weird up there, the dynamics.
West Philly, yes. Yeah. I would say, honestly, on the other side of Grace Ferry. When you go over Grace Ferry Bridge, 42nd Street, 43rd Street. What is that?
Was that around Aspen? Is that like the Aspen Street corridor where the apartment complex was repurposed not too long ago?
Well,
I don't know what that neighborhood designation.
That's further over.
Okay.
And so,
you can see the view of University City right from there.
Yeah.
And it's just not there yet, but it's plump for the taking over there.
Yeah.
I think any of the fringe markets around University City, like 50th and Chestnut, I'm not exactly sure what neighborhood that is, but you could literally throw a rock, well, not this age bracket anymore, but to the old West Philly high school.
High school, yeah.
That whole area, I think, has so much robust, strong homes. Like, I think because of the transportation, I mean, I don't know what that destination is. That's not Cedar Park, right up there. Cedar Park's more to the left.
Yeah, I think that's more like Squirrel Hill.
Squirrel Hill?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we had Ryan Spack out at Meet the Developers panel, so that's like his playland. He likes, like, he used to work with University City.
Oh, okay.
So he likes all those above markets because they're not priced out. So I'm a big believer in Westville. I mean, I make you laugh. I stayed at the Gables 20 years ago near Clark Park. Now, there was nothing going on at Clark Park other than just bad. Now they got Disney on Friday nights. The films for the kids and stuff.
Really?
So 20 years, that's all it took. So do you think that first-time home buyer will move along those routes up in West Philly, tying into University City and the transportation? I mean, Chestnut Street, Walnut Street, and all that.
Well, you can already see the boundary shifting in West Philadelphia. The same that happens in most areas. Most of the development would stop at maybe 48th Street, then it's increasing to 49th Street, 50th, 52nd Street. So, yes, I definitely do think that it's a market for first-time home buyers in West Philadelphia. And
that's going to lead into a question, 10 years in the business. What compelled you to get into the business right before the mortgage crash? So that's around 2007. So the world just came to close to an end. You couldn't close a door, might as well mortgage in 2008, October, November. So what made you decide, hey, listen, I love real estate, I want to get into it, and I'm on the back end of the real estate crash?
So that's actually a two-part answer.
Okay.
At the time, I was a social worker.
Okay.
I had been a social worker for 10 years. And quite honestly, I was getting a little burnt out from social work.
And working for free, basically.
Basically. And I recall my uncle, because I have a huge heart and I want to help people all the time. And I recall my uncle when I started college, he said, you don't go to school to do something where you help people. You go to school for something where you're going to make money. You can help people on the side. I'm like, no. I want to save the world. I want to do everything for people. And long story short, I quickly got burnt out. So I began looking for an opportunity to make that shift in my career, but still be able to help people. And what I realized is that most of the population that we were servicing in social services were not homeowners. They had maybe been second, third generation of people. I mean, I don't want to stereotype, or add to a stereotype, but people who had been living in maybe Section 8 housing or PHA housing. And I wanted to educate them about home ownership and the benefits of being a homeowner. So I said, okay, well, let's look into getting into real estate. But around that same time, this is the second part, I was purchasing my first investment property.
Okay.
And I could not find an agent to help me at all because I wasn't spending a whole lot of money.
Well, they're not supposed to return calls?
Right? No one would return my call.
Well, but just because it was a low-end property.
It was a low-end property, I'll be honest. I was spending $30,000 on talk about West Philly, the property was in West Philadelphia.
Yeah. And they didn't see the cost benefit. Hey, let me get this done, take it on the arm, and I'm going to build a relationship with somebody.
Yes.
Okay.
They did not see that. So I literally had to beg an agent to assist me. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to get my own license and I'm going to do this myself. And I promised myself that I would not become that agent who I guess became so big and so focused on just helping the higher end client that they don't, really help, people who's just getting started. And like you said, building that relationship.
Well, the biggest thing I got from what you just discussed about, you give back. Social working, you really need to care, okay? And there's a lot of people that are so scared of just the idea of paperwork to go through home ownership.
Oh, yeah.
Or investment property for that matter. So, I think that's very important. And I know personally you do your due diligence, because when you came to the event, you didn't really tell me right away. I had kind of pry it out of you. What your background was with, being a licensed. And I think you're 100% correct that Philadelphia still can extend workforce housing to be purchased, and people get that very misconstrued because you are allowed to buy a home up to $250 or under in that government housing type of acquisition. I think there's organizations like FNADA, ULI, a lot of these groups that are trying to help people to get into home ownership instead of getting caught up in the rental circumstance. Yes. And then the same people are inheriting properties, don't know what they're really doing or what they got, and it's an estate disaster. If they just let it continue, because we are in a very unique county. It runs like its own state, Philadelphia. And then you're also maybe facilitating listings for people leaving Philadelphia, and you need to talk to them about pricing and the market, and you experience the mortgage crash which some of the realtors today haven't, and they don't really understand what's coming if there's a slowdown, and not preparing themselves with what if. It sounds like you're not just talking it, you're walking the walk by being an investor, understanding buying homes, understanding about communication. What's the biggest tip that you want to give to a first-time home buyer going into the 18 market, which is going to be not as busy as 2017, close, but it's definitely going to be a different rate, different circumstances, just because of the inventory too. What's the biggest tip you can give a first-time home buyer? You meet them, you sit down with them, you get to know them, they get comfortable, they're ready to go look at 10 properties with you the following Saturday. But what's the first tip that you give them to walk away to think about?
Their budget,
A realistic budget.
A realistic budget.
Okay.
What I'm seeing is that a lot of lenders are giving people homes again that they may not be able to afford, in the long run, over a long period of time. If something happens, I'm seeing some adjustable rate mortgages again.
That's great.
Yeah. So, I just talked to them about maybe even if you are pre-approved for $250,000, you may not want to go that high. Let's take a realistic look at your lifestyle.
Correct.
Because you don't want to be house poor.
That is spot on. And somebody that is a lender, I try to keep people at 43%, and that's 43% debt to income. Because if you set expectations that they can go up to 50%, they're going to try to go to 55%. So if you set them at 43, they may hopefully only go up to 45%, and you still got a great loan in hand, and you're not upsetting the entire cycle of professionals that thus go into closing a transaction.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've run into that. I was approved for 250, but I think I could stretch it to 270. You can't think. You got to know.
Yes.
Okay. And over the decade that you've been in this business, do you feel Philadelphia County is one of those markets where you can assemble a power team, a reliable power team? People that are going to follow, the inspector, the button-up guy, gal, or all the different facets of a pizza of professional services. Have you found it gotten harder because of the busier market? Are you finding it easier, or do you feel that you really, it's like trial by error type of thing? Being in the business, you'll get past some of the mistakes hopefully, and have your team. What's your feeling on the power team here in Philadelphia?
I'm still working on developing my power team. Okay. To be honest with you, I do have several go-to lenders, but I'm finding, like you said, the market is good now. So people are not following up as quickly as I would like them to. I don't want to lose a potential client because a lender is taking 2 and 3 days to call. Yeah, it happens. Yeah, like, hello.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, to call a potential client back. So, I have several good ones, but it still happens. Yeah. Or, maybe someone isn't ready right now, but, 2 months from now, they're ready. Lender, I need you to follow up, and 2 months or so, I'm following up. I need you to follow up as well, or even with home inspection companies. It's hard.
That was going to be my big question to you. Do you feel they're providing doom and gloom? Or do you feel that they're, I mean, this is on the listing side and the buy side. You're trying to move over to the, I appreciate that you're training with Mike Ferry Services, so I'm a big fan of that. So let's talk about it. I mean, is that killing both sides of your world?
Listen, I just had a beautiful property under contract with a stand-up developer who completely stands behind his product, gives a warranty, and that transaction fell apart because of something the inspector said. And I've been selling this developer's property since about 2012. Not one client has ever had a problem. But, this particular inspector,
just had, wanted them. And I'm an investor, as you know, okay? So I've sold houses in the past, and what I offer is a pre-inspection. I use my power team inspector. We get the inspection, and we fix everything that's in that inspection. I then also offer a home service warranty. So I'm not looking to negotiate, seller assist. This is the price, okay? And I had a situation where an inspector tried to come up with, make-believe items. That just, just unbelievable items. And I'm like, I'm not negotiating. Your buyer can go somewhere else because here is the home inspection, which was thorough. And I'm offering you a home service warranty. If you want a $1,000 credit because of the what if, that the building might fall in, that's, that I'm not going to take on that risk because I'm giving you everything else. But I'll tell you for a fact, the buying agent called me personally and thanked me for providing on the seller's disclosure the copy of the inspection that I did, and then showed all the documentation that I did the work. He goes, he point blank told me I didn't have a lot of room to work with. Because I really had to pull a rabbit out of the head to try to get some money out of you for my client. And that's the biggest advice I would give back to you going into 18, because that eliminates a lot of the back and forth. And I feel that you have a very friendly rapport with the agents out there in the market that are active. And I see how you interact on Facebook. I mean, we know everybody based on Facebook. Isn't that how it all works? So, inspections I think is one, is really... it could be the killer right now because the inventory is so tight. So, have you said any? And this will just be the last question, so we'll be comfortable to kind of give people enough breadcrumb to say, "Hey, I want to meet with Desarrie," and that's where I want to. Do you plan on putting on some events with, providing the education you've created for 10 years? 10 years in the business, and you started the year prior to the mortgage crash. What are some plans of events that you are going to provide this year that you think you didn't do in 17 that you're going to connect directly with the consumer or the seller of a property? What are some things that you're thinking about doing this year that you didn't do last year?
I didn't host any first-time homebuyer workshops last year. I was extremely too busy. It was on... I guess I put it on the back burner because things were moving so quickly last year. But I would like to host a few workshops in the community. My goal is to really get back into the community, which was my initial reason for getting into real estate. So I really want to go back to my main focus. And, although my coach wants me to focus on listings, which I will do.
But you might get that out of there. It's really, interesting. Host an event where you bring out, some local medicinal people that help, do blood pressure. And because guess what? The people that are coming out are probably a little older. They might be ready to sell the house too. Anyway, check my blood pressure. I'm ready to list my house and leave. I'm moving to Florida. I can't stand this winter anymore. You know what I mean? So... I think you're a creative individual, and I think because of your experience prior to the mortgage crash, because a lot of these people just don't remember them, but they weren't even out of college yet. I'm sure you see. Do you know we are fielding 50 new realtors every month out of G Park?
Really?
Right now, today. And I think you're a big believer. You're working at Coldwell Banker, but obviously you went outside of Coldwell Banker to get personal training. But you need a place that's going to mentor you.
Oh, absolutely.
Whether it's a flag office or, a non-flag, meaning a boutique.
Yes.
It's all in the training.
It's 100% in the training when you're getting started as a new agent,
Because I see some contracts that are filled out. Like I can't even find the closing date. I'm like, where's the check? I'm like, I'm chasing down people.
Yeah. You get contracts with, you don't know if the client is getting inspections or not getting inspections. Like what's good going on here? Mortgage commitment dates are missing, and
from a branding perspective, what do you feel? What do you want the customer to think about you when they meet you? Like before they meet you, they see you on Facebook, you put a nice little video, Facebook Live up. What are you trying to project to your customer in 18?
That I care about my customer. I truly do care about the outcome, best possible outcome for my customer.
Excellent. That's great.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. When I have a client, I truly do advocate for that client for their best interests at all times.
And how do we reach you?
Well, I have a website, Desarrie. No, that isn't the website. www.phillyrealestatediva.com.
Okay.
Is my website, and I am on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Real Estate Divas, and I have
your contact number.
Yes, my number is 267-784-2085, and that's how you reach me.
And I am so happy I convinced you to come out and meet me. It was a wonderful interview, and you were a sweet in person that I was online, and I hope all the successes in the world in 2018 for your business.
Thank you. Same to you, Joe.
Well,
I appreciate it.
Hopefully I won't lose any more of my hair. This is Joe Scorese, your mortgage lending specialist at Work Your Money Podcast, and you have a great afternoon. See you soon.